Hi guys, I'm Jim and this is Jim's Fix-It Shop. I gotta find something different to say. I gotta be politically correct here. I have just picked up my 15th female mechanic. So hi guys are probably not the thing to say. Maybe we should go to hi friends or something. I don't know, I'll have to figure something out. But tonight I want to do a short video on the clutch disc assembly. Brian he didn't tell me what state he's in, probably down Florida way, had bought a snapper used last year. It seemed to work okay. This year he's developed some issues with it. He put on a new clutch disc. And I'm not sure if, I believe he said he put on a new clutch disc assembly, which would be this whole apparatus here. And when he tightens up the center nut, it pushes it against the chain case and locks up everything, and it won't move. He was wondering if there's supposed to be a spacer between them. No, mine don't. And I've got a machine just like his, with the oval steering wheel, not the handlebars. It's the one I bought from Trevor in Elkhart. He drove it up here for me. And it's the same basic machine, so we're going to take this one apart and show him what he needs to look for and check on his clutch disc. So let me bring the camera down there and we'll get this thing tore apart. Okay, it's hard for me to see because I'm not in front of the camera anymore. But how I get mine off, I've got this nut loosened already, and Brian said this nut comes off really hard. It's supposed to, Brian. That's a self-locking nut. And how I hold this thing is I've got this old screwdriver that has no handle on it. I lay it on top of this bar. I put it under the nut, the big nut, and on top of one of these 1/2-inch nuts. Then I put my socket on top of the screwdriver, and that keeps the assembly from turning when you loosen this nut. When you get it to the point, you should be able to spin it off with your fingers. Now, when you take the assembly off, there is a couple cone-shaped washers. These are lock washers. That's what their purpose is. And we have the Woodruff key is still in there. Behind the Woodruff key is another one of them lock washers. I'm going to pop that key out of my way. Let me grab some pliers. Okay, this is the best style of pliers that I found to remove these keys with. You just grab onto them and usually you tip it and they pop right out. Kind of like that. Then you can take this other lock washer off. Now when this one is on, it's beveled. You put the bevel, it looks like a bowl. If you're not familiar with them, you put the bevel out. And what I want Brian to do is to get something to measure this chain case with. I use a 6-inch scale. It looks like a tape measure, and it's very thin and it's flexible, so you can get it in here. And I want you to measure from where this bearing housing sticks out from the face of the chain case. And on this one, I have 1/4 of an inch. Now, well, you can't see this. I have to get this up on the table. Okay, Brian, we got the clutch disc assembly off of the machine. This is another one I have, a spare. Some of the parts on this that you're dealing with and you're not sure what they're called, on the very outside you're going to have the 4 1/2-inch nuts that hold the assembly together. And then you've got the cover plate. Then you've got this thrust washer that looks like a thin piece of cardboard. This one's pretty bad. It's got 2 holes wore right through it. Then you have the clutch itself. Now this setup is what they call a soft start. When you buy these clutch discs, they come 3 different ways. So you want to pay attention to what when you're buying. These holes in this clutch disc is for, where is my old one? Let me see if I can find that and I'll show you. Okay, I made this clutch disc, I don't know, 25 years ago. I patterned it off of a Comet. The Comets did not have a soft start clutch. It was a solid piece of steel and the clutch disc bolted solid to it. That's why I come up with the idea of bolting these onto this clutch. If you just can't get it to work right any other way, you can bolt these solid. But they do take off abruptly. I mean, it'll snap your neck sometimes. So I don't recommend doing that unless that's the only way you can get it to run. But this is what they call a solid clutch. Now your clutch discs, if you were to buy one for this assembly that is bolted solid, when you flip this over, you will not have this material in here. This is a little strip. They put that in and probably glue it. This one's breaking down. You can see it's wearing out. This is what actually drives your machine. It's similar to a brake material. And when this is on here, it slips. But when you let the clutch out and this swings into the drive disc, this loose clutch disc is pinched between the drive disc and this assembly. And this material is what grabs on this smooth surface and makes you take off slowly so it don't jerk your neck anymore. That's why these things wiggle around. Now, I've had guys call me and say, hey, I ordered this clutch and this material came in a bag loose. What do I do with it? You've got to put it in there and glue it in yourself. Some come, they don't have that material. I have one viewer that has that problem. And he wonders why his tractor won't go anywhere. Well, you're rubbing steel against steel and it's too smooth. It's not gonna move. And you have to put that material in. You've got to put the 2 ends together and cut it so it fits tight without a gap. Because if you have a gap in there, you're going to have vibrations from it. And the third way, you buy them, it already comes installed. So when you get one of these, if you have a soft clutch, which most all of them do now, make sure that brake material is inside of this clutch disc. Now this is a clutch disc I just took off of the same machine as you have. I want you to put something across the opening on this face. Then I want you to measure down to the top of this hub. I don't know if I can hold this up here or not. me turn this around the other way. Maybe I can hold this thing so you can see it. If you look down, how can I tip this? I've got about 1/8 of an inch. And that is really hard to read. This one's better. This is hard to hold. You can look up under there. I've got a little over 1/8 of an inch from the top of this to the top of this. Now I want you to measure them. If you're putting this thing together, and as soon as you tighten up this big nut, it locks up against the side of the chain case, something's wrong. I think I might have a chain case over here. Okay, I got a chain case. I don't have the shaft in it, but you can still see when this hub hits up against this bearing. Brian, you should have about 3/16 of an inch between the edge of this clutch and the face of your chain case. You can see that gap in there? That's what you should have. If you don't, I'd have to guess you have the wrong clutch disc assembly that you're trying to put on there. If it's easier to put it on to check things, take that Woodruff key out of the shaft. It'll slide on a lot easier that way. This is just one of those questions that I almost have to have the parts in front of me to look at them to see what the problem is. But Brian, what I want you to do is put this thing together, get your clutch assembly onto your chain case, snug up the nut, and take a picture of the distance between the chain case and the clutch assembly and send it to me and let me see it. And maybe I can tell what the problem is on why this thing is locking up on you. I don't know, where do you live? Maybe I see a road trip in my future. The wife loves them. So I guess that's it. Hope I helped somebody with this. I guess until next time, work safe, have fun, and let's get these old boys back on the road. We'll talk to you soon.